Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à Vuda Marina. Alors aujourd'hui, je vous amène vous raconter une histoire peut-être un peu plus longue. C'est l'histoire d'un jeune homme à l'époque, qui dans les années 70, dans l'Afrique du Sud, extrêmement conservatrice, avec un père extrêmement conservateur, déprimé. Il vivait une terrible crise de l'adolescence, déprimé, jusqu'à ce qu'il rencontre un autre jeune garçon de 16-17 ans comme lui, qui naviguait tout seul dans un tout petit bateau autour du monde. Il s'appelait Graham Lee, l'autre Australien. Celui que je vais rencontrer ici dans ce café s'appelle Graham Cox. Et ce bateau, Dove, et la navigation, le fait d'apprendre à naviguer, a sauvé la vie de Graham. Il voulait devenir danseur, son père voulait qu'il ait une vie correcte. Il deviendra navigateur, il deviendra écrivain en Australie. Et aujourd'hui, il est ici à Fiji comme moi parce qu'il suit ce navigateur de la 180. Alors, je vais lui en poser une ou deux questions aussi sur le sujet. L'interview est en anglais, mais il parle en anglais extrêmement international. C'est très facile à comprendre. Alors, allons découvrir comment. Et puis, je lui ai surtout posé, vous savez, cette question que je me pose depuis longtemps, depuis que je côtoie des navigateurs en solitaire. Qu'est-ce qu'un navigateur en solitaire? Pourquoi? Quel type de caractère a-t-on? Et qu'est-ce que font la navigation? Puisque la navigation, vous le savez, vous qui, comme moi, avez de temps en temps navigué, ou plus souvent navigué, pas à la journée, pas pour aller pêcher, mais naviguer au long cours, ou naviguer à la semaine, naviguer après la nuit. C'est beaucoup réparer le bateau. C'est Sylvain Tesson qui le disait, si faire de l'escalade, c'est une matière de survie, faire du bateau, c'est une manière de réparer le bateau. Le bateau casse. La météo n'est pas bonne, ou alors, il y a trop de vagues, ou il y a trop de vent, ou surtout, le pire, il n'y a pas de vent du tout. Voilà, il y a plein de choses, surtout des soucis, et de temps en temps, de magnifiques moments de plaisir. Alors, pourquoi les 10% de plaisir? Comment il annule les 80% de soucis? Je vais lui demander aussi tout cela. Et c'est lui aussi qui disait que la navigation, c'est une histoire de rétrospective. Alors, je lui demandais de nous expliquer tout ça. Je crois que ce matin, je suis un peu lente, un peu à la mode fidjienne. Je vais passer en anglais, ça va aller plus vite. Je vous embrasse. Allez, on y va. Hi, Graham.
Hi.
My English is not very good, and my followers are all French. Yeah. But your French is not better than my English, I'm afraid.
My French is almost non-existent.
So we'll do it in English. You are Australian?
I'm born in South Africa, but I've been living in Australia for 53 years.
And you speak like an English guy.
That's what you say, yeah.
I'm following especially solo sailors since few years now in very different races. Old-fashioned one like Dawn Swan, Golden Globe race, yeah, or mini Globe race. Biggest one like the Mini Transat in France or the Vendée Globe. And I'm still wondering what I had actually several questions about the solo sailor. First of all, why some people prefer to be solo sailors, and also I feel like it's a real difference in between the solo sailors of your generation and the solo sailors of our times. Do you think it is?
I have been thinking about that, your question, and I've also thought about it many times in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've got quite a fairly unique position on solo sailing. I'm a bit different to many other solo sailors, but we all are characters, so we're all a bit different. But for me, I see two types of solo sailors. I mentioned it yesterday before we cut off. One is the sailor who sails solo for a reason, whether it's a race or a rally or even just to break a record. And the other types do it because it's their choice as a lifestyle. They're either loners or they're...
You are part of this second category?
Yeah, definitely. And even for me, I've always jokingly said, but it's only half a joke, that sailing is a consolation prize for me because I really wanted to be a ballet dancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you are so tall.
Yeah.
It's so elegant. Yeah. I could imagine it.
I danced as a boy, but my father was against it because it was old-fashioned South African male culture was not considered to be appropriate in his eyes. He wasn't from an arts background. He wanted all his boys to play rugby and to be tough boys. And my mother helped me to dance because she was on my side. She taught me elocution, sent me for elocution lessons because she was English. And
that's why you don't have either the Australian, because we are living in Australia now, the Australian accent or the South African accent.
So, but it got stopped. When I was about 13, they stopped me from dancing and I got really angry. And then I got depressed and maybe a little bit suicidal. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And then one day I opened up a newspaper and there was a picture in there of Robin Lee Graham on the Dove, a little 24-foot boat. He was the first teenage single-handed sailor.
Wow.
And he came into Durban on October the 21st, 1967. And they wrote a story about him and put it in the newspaper. And when I opened it to page 3 and I looked at that, a light bulb went off in my head. It was this young guy, only 3 years older than me, halfway around the world in this little boat that his father bought for him. And he was free. He had long hair here. I went to a military school where they cut your hair off above your ears. And I just fell in love. I wasn't sure whether it was with him or with the boat or the life, but it was just like an explosion of energy and imagination. And I decided I'm not going to do any more schoolwork. I'm not going to do anything except work towards getting a boat.
So sailing saved you from depression, from like a teenager crisis.
Yeah, it may have saved my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was very, very dark place before, but you know, I still was interested in dance, and I still watch it with great pleasure. And I like going to the theatre, and I like the arts. My boat's got sculptures and oil paintings all over the bulkheads and stuff. I'm very into culture.
But how do you? Because I'm a little bit fascinated about those times where, as a teenager, you could just find a boat, get out in the boat, and save your soul, maybe. But in the same time,
try to save yourself.
How you didn't sunk your boat? How you learn? Because Don, it's a little bit the same. Don McIntyre, he just left. I forgot Sydney, Adelaide at 15 with a little boat that he built himself in the yard.
Yeah.
And how you guys at that time you could just get out? Who taught you?
Well, I started sailing at the age of 17, which is 2 years after I met Robin Lee Graham in 1967, and I met this guy who had a 28-foot timber boat that he'd built himself. I met him the day he launched it, and he taught me how to sail. He took me out sailing out of Durban on the ocean and back, and a little boat called Clipper. And it had a little hand-cranked petrol engine, no batteries, no electrics, Kero lights. He sailed that boat about 80,000 miles all over the world. I wanted to go with him, but I couldn't get a passport because I hadn't done my national service, and they would not give passports to white South African boys until after they'd done national service.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they've changed the rule. They changed the rule a few years later, but at that time you couldn't get a passport.
When we speak about that time, Graham, what time it was? What year?
It was 1969 when I started sailing, and he was going to leave the following year, 1970. So he left and went sailing, and I went into the military for a year. And when I came out, I built a little Warram catamaran. But I was...
And then you get fascinated by the story of Joshua Slocum.
Yeah,
you wrote a beautiful boat with a beautiful title that I forgot. What's that?
Last Days of the Slocum Era.
Yeah.
I wrote that book recently, I published it in 2024, because ever since I was 15, I've been collecting newspaper cuttings, photographs that I took or from other places, slides, transparencies, magazine articles. I had this huge box of stories, and in my head as well, because I have a very good memory, although it's fading a little now, but it's almost photographic. So I had all those stories, and I wanted to do something with them. I was already 70 years old. I'd already done some publishing. I wrote a book called the Junkrig Hall of Fame. It was published as a series of articles. 20 articles were then collected afterwards by the Junkrig Association and made into an e-book. But they only distributed through their membership of the Junkrig Association. So that wasn't a widespread book, but it did give me a lot of practice.
So starting by your 17th, to resume your life, it was most sailing and writing?
So what
Mostly.
happened?
You're still having a boat.
I live on my boat.
You live in your boat?
I've lived on a boat for the last 30 years.
No way.
Yeah, and the first boat for 25 years was only 24 feet long.
Wait a moment, Graham. For people like me, who are used with catamarans and this kind of boats, I know you don't have a catamaran. How you can iron a shirt when you are living in a boat? It's not easy to live in a boat and have like a civilized life.
You can wash in a litre of water. You can boil a kettle and put a little bit in the bottom of the bucket and then put a little bit more cold water until the temperature is just perfect and start washing. And when it gets cool, you tip that out and refresh it with another. And by the time you've used up maybe 2 litres, one of boiling water, one of cold water mixed together, you have a perfect shower. You are like a rose when you're finished.
I have to see.
Yeah. I can prepare a really good meal on a table half this size.
Really?
Yeah. You just have to plan it, and you use the right plates and the right utensils, and chop up with little knives and stuff. And I put things on trays. So I have a plastic trays.
Does it mean, Graham? Because me, I'm more interesting. I know it's not for you. I mean, for sailing people, not so. It's a little bit of kind of stupid questions, but what interests me.
There's no stupid questions.
I try to understand people who are sailing because I'm not sailing myself. I try to understand what skills you have to be a sailor, especially a solo sailor.
What skills?
And about what you say here, I think it means you have to be very organized then. Is that the definition of a sailor? What's the definition of a sailor for you?
For me?
Or for sailing?
I'm not sure about other people because it varies. Some people will be completely disorganized and you think, how on earth could they get around? But they do. And other people are meticulous to the point of being a bit anal about it, everything in its exact place. I do try to keep my stuff in the same place. It looks untidy, but I know where everything is. I will put some things in the same drawer always, and some things I'll throw in my bunk, but I know that those things are on the bunk with a lee cloth up. But I don't put things all over the place because if you need things in a hurry, you've got to know exactly where they are.
Yeah. I was also wondering, when I watch people, now I'm following all these races around the world since several years, when I watch these guys, every time they come and I interview them, they almost all the time speak to me about their problems. Fixing boat. I mean, if climbing it's adventure in mountains, it's about climbing or surviving. Sailing, it's for me like more about fixing boats. Every time you see someone coming, he has a problem, he has to fix the boat. So I'm wondering, you have the fixing the boat, things broken, you never know what will break next.
Yeah.
You have, I was trying to see where is the noise coming from. I don't even speak about the weather. Yeah. I mean, not the bad weather, but even the weather like no winds. How horrible is that? So at the end of the day, when I speak with people, my conclusion is that sailing, it's 10% about pleasure, all the rest it's trouble. So then why you sail since you are 17? Why keeping doing that?
I think different personalities have different perspectives, whether you are an optimist or a pessimist or depressive or whatever. I'm depressive on the land, but I'm a joyous person at sea. So I do curse sometimes when there's no wind and the boat's crashing from side to side and gear starts to chafe or break. But normally I'm very, very comfortable at sea. So it's almost like I become a different person at sea.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This joy comes out of me. I feel free. That's why I went sailing, to escape. I wanted to escape from my parents, especially my father. He was a good man, but he was very strict and very authoritarian, but also had expectations of my behaviour. And I could never meet them because I rebelled against the expectations of the average masculine male. I dressed very differently, sometimes, but not exactly cross-gender, but very close. I really wanted to avoid becoming, I hated that masculine thing. And also I couldn't find a career because every career was like you were investing in that masculine expectations, unless I could go dancing or go in the theatre or somewhere. In the world where I was being pushed, which was to go to university maybe, which my three brothers did, and my father paid for everything. He was a good man, he paid for everything. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to become a lawyer or a banker or a doctor. And I had been, because of my photographic mind, memory, I had been a very good student until at 16 I just closed my books. I failed every subject except English in my final exams, to my parents' distress. And I went away to be a hippie boy. You know, I grew my hair, I smoked joints, I wore embroidered shirts. My family didn't even want to look at me. My eldest brother said, I will always be your friend when we meet at the family table, but don't speak to me in the street.
Oh, really? Because when I look to you today, you look pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me now, because I try to don't make too wrong.
I mean, I don't want to be an old hippie. It's ridiculous. You know?
Ah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I got it. Tell me now a little bit quickly about the 580, because you follow this race. I understand now, when you speak to me about your background, I understand better why a young man like Christian Sauer, for example, might intrigues you, interests you.
Yeah.
So that's why you follow the 580, because I know you are following the race.
It's the characters,
It's the character.
It's the people for me. I would not want to do a race like this myself. I'm fascinated by it because of John Guswell, who was one of my great heroes. His book, Trek Around the World, which was about the little 20-foot trekker, the original trekker designed by Lawrence Charles, he sailed around the world between 1955 and 1958. And he was the first micro yacht to circumnavigate the world.
Okay.
And that was Don's inspiration to do the MGR. And that's why the first boat, number 1, is called Trekker, because it's based on John Guswell's Trekker. I read that book when I was 15. I met Robin Lee Graham, and then I started reading every book in the library. That's the only thing I ever read from that day onwards.
Okay.
No mathematics books, just sailing books. And I read his book. It was the third book I read. It is a very inspirational book. I suspect he left out all the difficult parts. He made it like a fairy story in some ways.
Yeah, but this is the thing, because for what I understood, with this very teeny boats, they are extremely uncomfortable in waves. You keep moving all directions. It's like a washing machine.
Sure.
Upwind, they go nowhere.
Downwind, they screw around.
Yeah, so it's a nightmare to sail these boats.
It's hard work, but the more skilled skippers can control the boats better. They're not an easy boat to sail at a high speed. They can all sail very comfortably if they slow down, but they're racing.
So actually you mean, because I knew it was a safe boat because they are strong, I knew that. But so you mean if people like Jasmine, who doesn't have such a big experience, this is good boat for them, because if you don't go quick, you can feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
It's relatively comfortable. You'll never be comfortable on a 21-foot boat in a developed trade-wind sea, never, because it's very lively. The motion is very quick. But the difference between sailing at 4 knots with a deeply reefed main and just maybe a working jib, or if the winds are lighter, you put out your A7 or something, and keeping the boat down to about 4 knots or so, it's quite easy. You don't broach, you don't twist around. But if you want to push the boat right to the edges, to the limits of its performance envelope, then you start putting up a lot of sail, and you reach a point where you have to hand steer or slow down. It's your choice. And the keen racers like Renault do a lot of hand steering, and Kerry hand steers almost all the time.
Yeah, but you know, Jean-Luc Van den Ende, the French sailor, he was following the first mini transat when Don was an entrant, have told me that the one who will win the race, it will be the one who will do half steering. And actually, it is what happened. Etienne Messy-Comer, who he's the previous owner of number 2, he was not doing a lot of autopilot, and suddenly, when he heard that, he just went into half steering, and he won the race because he was in second position. So maybe that's why Renault have a good experience.
So Don came third, and he just cruised along and had no problems at all. But he was behind the front two. the front two, Etienne
Yeah.
and the other guy.
Michael, a Czech
Yeah,
a guy from the Czech Republic.
Yeah, so those two guys pushed their boats really hard.
Exactly, yeah.
And they were hand steering and sometimes broaching and going down. They never broke anything, which is a good indication of how strong those boats really are. They pushed their boats amazingly hard, and they were only, a day or two in front of Don. I haven't got the numbers with me, but they were Don was not far behind them, and yet he was cruising, reading books, sitting around.
Yeah.
But if you really are serious about winning this race, you need to hand steer a lot. Yeah.
So who's the character that you? I mean, we are all different. I think character sailors in a race is like books in a library.
I find them all fascinating. Every single character in this race is quite different, and they have a different approach. So Renault has this amazing, almost scientific approach, but he doesn't push for extremes. He goes for averages, and he's winning. And other people haven't yet learned that lesson, that high average speeds are better than extreme bursts of speed. So especially for transatlantic might be different. You can push yourself almost to exhaustion because it's only 25 days or something.
Yeah,
but if you
but
go
around the world.
Yeah, and also you need to look after your gear. In the sailors' terms, they talk about husbanding your gear, like a wife and a husband.
Oh, really?
Husbanding is a word that sailors use for looking after the gear, making sure you don't wear it out unnecessarily or break it unnecessarily.
Okay.
You look after it carefully.
Oh, that's beautiful. And people forgot that in a marriage to look after carefully.
Yeah.
We should reinvent this word. What do you think about? I didn't follow his race so far, but I'm impressed by Jakub.
Yes.
The Polish guy who is living in Ireland, I think, because when he left Lanzarote, he doesn't look to me like a very experienced sailor. But he has such a determination. He's cool, but I think he really wants to race.
Yeah.
How does he? You have another eye on the race because you followed it closely, and you are a sailor, so you can see the mistakes better than me. What do you think about Jakub?
I'm very impressed because, as you say, initially he didn't have a lot of experience, but also he had all his books on board. It was his only home, and he was cruising across the Atlantic. He was just cruising, and when he stopped cruising was near the Galapagos when he got frightened by some fishermen because he tangled their nets and he escaped, and he saw them coming over and he thought they were going to maybe chastise him for damaging their net. And he saw this big squall coming, but he put a big spinnaker up to run away from them.
Really? I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's
and
fun.
And he went really, really fast, and he survived. And then after that, so he thought, hey, I don't have to slow down all the time when there's a squall. And he started pushing the boat much harder after that.
Oh, really? Because you see, I met them in Lanzarote, and when I see Jakub here, that's why I'm following him more. I mean, I like them, like you, I like them all, and they have their old skills and stuff. You see, Pilar, I knew she was a strong sailor. I'm not surprised by her position, by her race. But Jakub just impressed me because here, even the games we played the other day, he has this strong, he's a very competitive person, I think, at the end of the day.
He was a wrestler before.
He was a what?
A wrestler.
What's a wrestler?
People who wrestle with each other.
Oh, really?
Like a wrestler, yeah.
That's why I understand better.
He was a wrestler, yeah.
Ah,
He was a very good wrestler when he was young.
A wrestler
Yeah.
who have a boat full of books.
Yeah, he's a complicated character, or multi-layered maybe would be a better way of putting it.
Anyway.
He has a very deep spirit. He reads a lot of books about not just how you do it, but what it means. You know, why he's looking for the meaning in life, which is quite different to just wanting to win. You know? So he wants to do both. He wants to win and he wants to understand what's driving him and what the world is like. He reads Motesia a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got the long way on board his boat.
I should go to interview him before he's leaving tomorrow.
You should, actually. If he has the time, it would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Graham.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have time tomorrow after the start, I will
Yeah.
ask you a little bit what do you think about
Yeah.
about
Okay.
about their start. I think the condition will be average tomorrow. No wind.
Fairly quiet.
Yeah.
Light winds, I think, yeah. So
Anyway.
a slow start. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out there. It's a bit of an issue for me at the moment because Captain Coconut is taking people out, but he wants to leave at 9:30 in the morning, and I don't want to miss the farewell over here, which might be 10 or 10:30.
I can give you a tip. I can give you a tip, Graham.
Yeah,
You do the farewell,
yeah,
then you jump into Don's dinghy. Don will go to adventure with the dinghy
yeah.
because Dan Turner will sail adventure out for the start. So it means you will not miss the start, and if you are on adventure, you can see it.
Yeah, and then he bring me back afterwards.
Anyway, you have to deal all that with Don.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
his boat. I don't know why
yeah,
I take
yeah,
people on
yeah,
Don's
sure.
boat.
I've already mentioned it to Jane. So she's
she-
going to talk to Don. I'm supposed to be having an interview with them today. It probably won't happen because they're so busy. But so
I heard about that.
yeah, we're supposed to be doing an interview today.
Anyway.
If we don't, we'll do it tomorrow afternoon or on Sunday perhaps because I'm flying. I have to leave here at 12 o'clock on Sunday, so we have a bit of time Sunday morning as well. Yeah.
Last question. Jacob mentioned to me when I spoke to him the other day, he mentioned to me something that you said, which is sailing, it's a retrospective thing. What
Yes.
do you mean by that?
Sailing is a retrospective fun.
Retrospective fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Because that's what lots of sailors say. It's not so much what I feel, but it's what lots of sailors say. They say that they don't enjoy it while it's happening, but when after it finishes, they look back and their perspective changes, then they enjoy it. And that's quite common, I think, in
You know
adventure.
what? I think it's true because
Yes.
I have seasick. I hate sailing, but when I come back, I think I had great fun. Thank you, Graham.
It's a pleasure.